I'm expecting a baby, but my fiance had to step up and help his childhood bestie's ex-girlfriend who needed surgery. He even stayed by her side in the hospital bed. I made the tough call to terminate the pregnancy and got him 3 thoughtful presents. Later, he started having nightmares that he just couldn't shake off. I found it hilarious. Mike, you totally got what you deserved. Mike lifted his glass, gazing at me warmly. Sarah, happy anniversary. I mirrored his gesture to toast, but didn't sip my drink. Mike, I'm not drinking tonight because Before I could finish, Mike's phone buzzed. He checked the caller ID, hesitated, then hung up and sent a quick text. Sarah, what was that about? I asked. I saw the caller ID too. It was Lisa calling. My stomach churned as I shook my head, planning to break the news about my pregnancy once I felt better. Mike smiled, still keeping things under wraps. Huh? The phone kept ringing persistently. Mike looked at me with a strained expression and answered the call. His face grew anxious. He jumped up in a rush, accidentally dropping his utensils with a clatter. The speaker got pressed by mistake, and Lisa's sweet voice filled the phone. Sorry to interrupt your anniversary with Sarah, but I'm really not feeling well. Sarah, Lisa's feeling bad and needs to go to the hospital. She's all alone and needs someone to look after her. His tone was genuine, and his explanation made sense. Lisa was his childhood sweetheart. They grew up together, and their families were tight. Before I could react, Mike grabbed his car keys and dashed out. Sorry, Sarah, I'll make it up to you later. Left alone in a restaurant filled with couples and curious gazes, the food tasted bland. By 10 p.m., I got home, but Mike still hadn't returned. I checked my phone, no messages or calls from him. I opened Instagram and saw that just moments ago, Lisa had posted an update. A photo of a hospital hallway with a tall man waiting, captioned, "Feels like going back to those days. Whenever I need you, you drop everything and come." I stared blankly at the screen. Lisa wasn't just Mike's childhood sweetheart. They dated in high school, too. Back then, I was just his secret crush. Later, Mike and I both enrolled in the same university. Lisa's grades weren't stellar, so they maintained a long-distance relationship. In our sophomore year, during a club dinner, Mike was smiling but kept drinking heavily. By the end of the night, he suddenly confessed his feelings to me. Sarah, have you been secretly liking me? Want to be my girlfriend? I was over the moon, ignoring how sudden and out of the blue Mike's confession was. Throughout our relationship, Mike moved me deeply. I was working as a tutor and faced harassment from a parent. Panicked, I ran away, only to break down and cry later. I called Mike for help, and after listening, he comforted me to stay in a public place and rushed over immediately. He bought me a hot chocolate to calm me down and then took me to report the incident to the police. After leaving the station, Mike was visibly flushed. I later found out he had a fever and needed shots at the hospital. As soon as he got my call, he pulled out the needle and hurried to me. I felt touched and guilty. Mike smiled, patted my head, and said, "You're my girl, you need me. No matter what, I'll be there for you." But now, I felt like I was the one being left behind. At 5 a.m., Mike came home. Seeing me on the couch, he looked a bit awkward. Sarah couldn't sleep? I shook my head. Nope. Mike walked over and crouched beside me, holding my hand. Why are your hands so cold? Put on some more clothes. How's Lisa? Mike frowned, worry flashing in his eyes. Still not sure. She needs another checkup today. I replied, I'll check on her after work. He paused, nodded, and quickly added, Sarah, don't stress it. I see her like a sister now. When I got to the hospital after work, I saw Lisa playfully interacting with Mike. Mike, you know I hate apples. I won't eat them. I don't want to. Mike insisted on peeling and slicing the apple into small pieces, carefully skewering them with a toothpick and offering them to her. You never liked fruits and veggies since you were little. Your resistance was too weak. That's why you got sick. You need more vitamins now. Although Lisa protested, she eventually took a bite. I envy your girlfriend right now. If it wasn't for this illness, I wouldn't have missed your meticulous care for so long. Mike, thinking of me or reminiscing about their sweet past, chuckled softly. That smile broke my heart. I turned to leave, but Lisa noticed me. Sarah, long time no see. We were just talking about you. Come in, come in. I stood frozen at the doorway as Lisa looked annoyed at Mike. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and cut some fruit for Sarah, too. Hurry up and cut some fruit for Sarah, too. Mike quickly walked over. All set? I've got the car. We'll head home soon. I looked up at him. His expression was honest, seemingly unaware of anything wrong with his intimate act with Lisa. I pushed Mike aside and said to Lisa, I remember you had a friend named Amy around here too. Mike is just a guy, and sometimes things might get tricky. Why don't you call her to take care of you? It'll be easier. Lisa's face showed a hint of guilt, quickly masking it. Sorry, Sarah. Mike has always taken care of me since we were kids. I'm just used to it. I lost touch with Amy a long time ago. Now I only know people around here. Mike frowned and interrupted her. All right, you rest up. And Sarah, Lisa's a patient now. Don't be too sensitive. Their behavior was so ambiguous, it made me feel like I was at fault. My eyes burned and filled with tears. Maybe it was the hormonal changes from the pregnancy, making me extra emotional lately. But at that moment, I didn't want to show any weakness. I dug my nails into my palms, forced a cold smile, and said, Mike, if you care so much about your ex, why don't you just get back with her? Let's break up. This was the first time since we started dating and got engaged that Mike spoke to me in such a reproachful tone, and I couldn't accept it. Over the years, no matter what happened, he always stood by my side. When Mike's mom invited me for coffee and bluntly said they wanted a daughter-in-law who would contribute to a warm and harmonious family, suggesting maybe Mike and I weren't a good match, Mike suddenly appeared, took my hand without saying a word, and led me away despite others' opinions. In my entire life, I only had one Sarah in mind. I didn't know what he told his parents afterward, but their attitude softened a lot when they saw me again. After being with Mike for so long, my personality had grown stronger. Otherwise, I might have just quietly walked away earlier. But I couldn't understand why Mike, who used to be so protective and never let me down, was suddenly unable to set boundaries with other women. Or was it just Lisa, who held a special place for him? When Mike heard me say break up, he immediately panicked. He caught up to me, held my hand, and wouldn't let me leave. Sarah, I don't mean anything else. Don't talk about breaking up so casually. Lisa glanced at him, then at me, and said, Sarah, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. I'll keep my distance from Mike. Please don't have issues because of me. After she finished, she quickly left the ward, shutting the door behind her, and shouted, Why don't you hurry and comfort your girlfriend? You weren't like this before? I almost laughed. Every word sounded like advice, yet she addressed him so intimately, hinting at their sweet past. On the way back, Mike looked hurt. When you said break up, my heart almost stopped. I really have nothing with Lisa. As soon as she had her operation, I stopped caring about her. I realized I had never noticed this side of Mike before, maybe because Lisa hadn't appeared since we started dating. I never knew he would act this way whenever he met Lisa. I sat in the passenger seat, feeling numb as Mike apologized beside me, but I couldn't respond. Mike grew impatient and said, Can you stop making a fuss, Sarah? Why are you competing with a patient? Should I just ignore her completely to make you happy? Before I could reply, a stray dog suddenly darted in front of us, causing Mike to slam on the brakes. I was jerked forward by the sudden stop. My heart raced, and I turned pale, feeling nauseous. I quickly rolled down the window, leaned out, and threw up. Mike hurriedly patted my back and handed me tissues and water. Sarah, are you okay? Is it your stomach? I wiped away the tears from vomiting and felt like laughing. Lisa was the patient, and I was the one expecting. No matter what illness Lisa had, it wasn't Mike's fault. I was Mike's fiancé, and he was the father of my child. He should be worrying about me the most. Maybe it was just food poisoning from dinner. By then, we were almost home. Mike accompanied me upstairs to the couch to rest, then went to the medicine cabinet to fetch the stomach meds I usually took. Watching me take the medicine, Mike stood up and went to the kitchen. I immediately pretended to go to the bathroom, spat out the pill against the back of my tongue, and flushed it down the toilet. Not long after Mike went to the kitchen, the aroma of delicious food filled the air. It was his famous porridge. Due to various reasons, my stomach hadn't been good, and Mike hadn't been much of a cook before. But after we got together, he taught himself to make different dishes that were gentle on the stomach. Porridge was his specialty. But before any tender feelings could develop, I heard him deliberately close the kitchen door, lower his voice, and answer a phone call. I didn't have to think twice to guess it was Lisa calling despite the muffled voice. I could still catch words like stomachache and can't shake it. After a while, Mike pushed open the door, bringing out the porridge, gently instructing me to eat slowly. Then he said, "Sarah, there's a contract issue at work I need to handle now." I glanced at the thermos in his right hand. He was taking the porridge to the office, treating it as a late-night snack for overtime. The bright fluorescent light illuminated his face clearly, still honest and transparent. Slowly, a smile spread across my face. "Okay, don't stay too late at work. Come home early to rest." Mike raised his eyebrows and reached out to touch my head as usual, but I dodged it by turning my head slightly. He was taken aback, and I forced a smile, saying, "You better get to work. Don't stay too late." After Mike left, I checked the shared location on my phone and slowly made my way to the hospital where Lisa was. Soon, Lisa updated her Instagram again. "Heartwarming porridge, truly delicious." After reading it, I went to the kitchen and poured the remaining porridge into the trash. At that moment, I actually wanted to tell Mike I was pregnant, but whether I was or not, isn't it a man's duty to inform his fiancée, who's not feeling well, before visiting his ex in the middle of the night? My heart gradually cooled down. Despite the many beautiful and warm memories I shared with Mike, I had to admit he seemed to have changed. The hospital where Lisa was located was the city's top tertiary hospital. It was where I discovered my pregnancy, so my follow-up checkups were also scheduled there. "Have you been having emotional swings lately? Look at this HCG value," the gynecologist patiently explained, insisting I must stay happy for the baby's sake. After leaving the doctor's office, I slowly walked away. The hospital was large and crowded on weekends, but I managed to spot Mike and Lisa among the crowd. Mike was carefully supporting Lisa, who seemed perfectly fine. She was smiling and chatting with him. They were very close, and I even noticed Mike's earlobes were slightly red. When Mike was shy, his face wouldn't flush, but his earlobes would. This was something I noticed during our time together. I overheard a girl next to me sigh to her boyfriend. "Look at those two, such a cute couple, handsome guy with a beautiful girl." I watched them until they approached me, coming face to face. When Mike saw me, his smile froze, and he suddenly let go of Lisa. Today is the day Lisa is discussing her surgery plan with the doctor. She said she's feeling a bit anxious, so I cut him off with a smile. No need to explain. But Mike was even more confused, almost as if he suddenly remembered something. He urgently asked, "Why are you at the hospital? Feeling unwell? Is your stomach acting up again? Have you had tests done?" His rapid and anxious questioning drew attention from those around us. The couple next to us exchanged strange looks, focusing on the three of us and then glancing at Lisa, giving knowing smiles. "Is this your boyfriend?" The girl asked maliciously, whether Mike told her not to get involved or just asked out loud. I nodded. "He's my fiancé." "What?" The girl's reaction was overly dramatic. "I was just admiring you and your fiancé with that lady, thinking how sweet you two are." Turns out she covered her mouth, as if suddenly realizing, "I don't mean you lead a double life. Do you mind?" Several people noticed the commotion and looked over. Mike's face darkened, and Lisa bit her lip, freezing in place, looking uneasy. Yes, hidden thoughts suddenly magnified in broad daylight, and with any sense of propriety, such situations couldn't be ignored. Lisa softly called his name. "Mike, I'm feeling a bit unwell." She looked pale, with a hint of cold sweat on her forehead, not seeming to fake it. This time, instead of immediately taking care of her, Mike looked towards me. I maintained a smile. "Lisa, how about we get a nurse to help you?" Lisa's eyes welled up with tears. She looked at Mike, tears streaming down, clearly crying but managing a falsely brave smile. "I don't have much to do today. I'll go back to rest first. Mike, you better not come looking for me after the surgery, or Sarah will misunderstand again." She turned around, her slender figure slowly disappearing into the crowd. Mike stared in the direction she walked, but didn't follow. Instead, he held my hand tighter and tighter, almost painfully. That night, Mike set up a table full of delicious dishes. "Sarah, once Lisa finishes her surgery, I won't meet her alone again. Mike, you can't forget about her, can you?" Mike fell silent for a moment, then solemnly declared, "Sarah, you're my future wife. I only love you." I smiled nonchalantly. Mike, a liar has to swallow 1,000 needles. That night, after Mike fell asleep, his phone buzzed again. Probably due to the recent stress of work and taking care of Lisa. I quietly took his phone without him noticing. I checked my messages and saw one from Lisa. Mike, do you know what I was thinking about in the hospital lobby today? I was wondering, if we hadn't broken up on the second day of our sophomore year, would you be able to take care of me properly now? I wouldn't be here like a shameless mistress, being looked down upon by others. I was stunned. It was the second day of sophomore year that Mike confessed to me during a club dinner. I felt like I had fallen into an ice cave. Although I knew Mike was with me because he had broken up with Lisa, I didn't expect the time gap between the two relationships to be so short. Or was it that Mike was with me only to spite her from the start? I looked at the phone screen, my heart growing colder inch by inch. Quietly setting the message back to unread, I stayed awake until dawn. The next morning, when Mike woke up, he smiled and kissed my cheek, saying, "Good morning, Sarah." I couldn't hold back my disgust and despair. Mike's face changed. Just as he was about to speak, I frowned and said, "I'm feeling unwell. Can you take me to the hospital?" I had Mike take me to a different hospital. Our 7th anniversary had passed over a month ago, and the father of the child finally learned this outdated happy news. I watched him ecstatically. "Sarah, I'm so happy. I've always liked kids, and I really want our family to have another new life." I knew Mike had a little sister he adored dearly, but she was frail and passed away before she could speak. When Mike persuaded his mother to accept me, he mentioned her. If Emily were still alive, she would be about Sarah's age now. "Mom, you've lost a sister already. Why treat another girl who lost her parents like this?" Mike's mother's attitude towards me changed dramatically. The doctor told Mike, "Pregnant women need to take good care of their babies. You're the child's father, so you must take care of her well." Mike nodded quickly, then his phone rang again. He paused for a moment before declining the call. I pretended to be understanding. "Is it Lisa? Why didn't you answer? What if something happened to her?" Mike smiled. "Let's talk about it later. Right now, you and the baby are the most important." I didn't feel touched, just found it ridiculous. Without a baby, is a 7-year fiancé less important than an ex-girlfriend? Mike told Lisa in front of me that he would send a female assistant to take care of her in the future. When Lisa learned about my pregnancy, her fragile expression almost broke. As the scheduled surgery date approached, Mike went out to find the doctor, and finally, Lisa stopped pretending to be peaceful with me. Using a child to tie down a man? Are you really using such a low tactic? I ignored her sarcasm and touched my belly, smiling. Compared to Lisa, I'd say sticking with someone else's fiancé is much more despicable. Lisa also smiled. Mike and I are childhood sweethearts. We're each other's first love. Sarah, let me tell you, nobody can surpass me in Mike's heart. Well, let's see. I don't care how Lisa talks tough. Being an orphan, I crave a warm family more than anyone else. So right now, I just want to give the child a complete family. As long as Mike still has some decency, I can forgive him for the sake of the child. As for Mike, I no longer trust him. On the day of Lisa's surgery, after hesitating multiple times, Mike finally asked me, "Sarah, please believe me. This surgery is really a bit risky. Even as friends for so many years, I'm a little worried." I looked at him. "You may go. Just remember what you said before." Mike hugged me tightly. "Sarah, I belong only to you. We have a baby. We will be happy." "Sarah, Lisa's surgery went smoothly, and I'll have the assistant continue to take care of her from now on. What do you want to eat tonight? Shall we go out or should I cook for you?" I opened Instagram, and Mike posted a story celebrating Lisa's successful surgery before I could reply. The email notification sound went off. It was an email from a stranger, with just a recording and a line of text in the body. "Sarah, this is what you wanted." I stared at the email for a few seconds, then clicked on the recording. It was Lisa's voice. "Mike, the surgery is coming up in a few days, and I'm a bit scared." Then I heard the familiar voice respond, "Don't be afraid, it's just a minor surgery, I'll come to accompany you." After a few silent seconds, Lisa continued, "Mike, is it really impossible between us anymore?" Mike remained silent for a while, his voice hoarse. "You were the one who didn't want me first, and besides, Sarah is carrying my child. I have to be responsible for her. Responsible? Just a duty. So do you still have feelings for me deep down? Lisa continued to ask. Mike rubbed his forehead. It doesn't matter now, Lisa. After you have the surgery, let's not meet again. But I don't want that. Lisa's voice suddenly became emotional. Mike, you're such a coward. Do you dare to admit that deep down, you still love me? There was silence again. After a while, Lisa's tearful voice sounded. Can you just kiss me one last time, like when we were 16 and just got together? I swear I won't pester you anymore. I just want one kiss. My heart pounded heavily, panic engulfing me. And then I heard Mike sigh. What do you want me to do about you? Following that, the recording contained ambiguous and secretive sounds. I heard Lisa say some unpleasant words to Mike in a coquettish tone, and Mike seemed to have forgotten about his fiancée. He only cared about whether Lisa's body could handle it and then gladly accepted the invitation. After listening, I transferred some money to the account and sat quietly in the dark office for a long time. Then, I opened the hospital's public account and scheduled an appointment for the next day. After Mike dropped me off at the office, I turned around and took a taxi to the hospital. The cold instruments probed into my body, and at that moment, my brain was surprisingly calm. It was only my heart that felt like it had been torn open, causing a dull ache. Why am I the only one enduring this pain? Why should I? What did I do wrong again? After the surgery, my hand couldn't stop rubbing my lower abdomen. The little one that was there not long ago was now gone. I heard myself saying to the doctor, Doctor, don't inform the family yet. My fiancé was really looking forward to this baby. I want to tell him after a while. I messaged Mike saying that I had to go on an emergency business trip for a few days. Shortly after, Mike called back, asking a lot of questions. I found a hotel to rest and recover. During this period, Mike, like every guilty man who strays, showed doubled affection and concern towards me. 10 days later, I returned home, and Mike daily prepared pregnancy recipes for me in different ways, and even enrolled in a nutritionist class. I don't trust anyone else, but you and the baby definitely need me to take care of you. He told stories to my belly, played music daily. These are the prenatal education methods I learned online. Looking at this man in front of me, who anyone would praise as a great father and husband, I suddenly remembered a news story a friend had forwarded to me, with a comment that struck me. Men don't just suddenly turn rotten. He could cook porridge for me, learn to cook for me, and take care of his ex-girlfriend meticulously. He could confess his love to me without reservation, and he could kiss Lisa without any psychological burden. He could be in tears one moment over the arrival of new life, and the next moment end up in bed with his ex-girlfriend. At that moment, he even cast aside his fiancée, an unborn child, only caring about whether he would hurt his ex-girlfriend. I watched Mike, who was deeply engrossed in reading fetal education stories, this man with eyes as clear as ever. But beneath the surface, something vile and rotten lurked. Seeing Mike brimming with happiness, I couldn't help but smile. The moment you are happiest now, what expression will you have when your expectations are dashed again? Lisa was discharged. She invited Mike and me to visit, thanking us for taking care of her during this time. I smiled, leaning into his arms, and softly said, "Why not invite Amy too? Lisa doesn't have many friends here. It would be more lively with more people around." Mike scratched his nose, probably not wanting just the three of us to be alone together, and immediately called Amy. I didn't know what was said on the other end, but dark clouds covered Mike's face as he pretended not to notice. I continued to smile and asked him, "What gift should we bring to Lisa's place?" Mike hesitated multiple times, but ultimately didn't say anything. On the agreed day, Mike still accompanied me to Lisa's house with a dark expression on his face. After a meal where all three of us harbored our own secrets, I mentioned that I had to go to the office for something, refusing Mike's offer to drive me there. After all, I was considerate and wanted to create an opportunity for the two of them to be alone. After leaving, I turned on the miniature recorder hidden on Mike. "Mike, didn't we already clarify things last time? Mike, I can't let you go. You don't love Sarah. You love me, right?" Mike coldly chuckled. "It's only now that I realize how good you are at pretending. Let me tell you, Lisa, I love Sarah. I know I didn't treat her well before, and it hurt her. And Lisa, I now know why you broke up with me in the first place. On the way there, I called Amy and invited her to visit with the intention of surprising you. After all, you and she used to be best friends. As soon as Lisa heard this, her face paled instantly. Do you know how Amy reacted after hearing me out? She cursed me, saying that I had her take care of the mistress who stole her boyfriend. Are you out of your mind? Lisa begged Mike desperately not to continue, but it was Mike's anger, ignited by the truth, that overcame his pity for Lisa. Lisa, Amy mentioned the time she said you stole her boyfriend. But that was before you broke up with me, right? Indeed, I was just a poor student at the time, no match for a rich second generation like you. So, why are you coming back to me now? Is it because that man went bankrupt? And now that I have money, you can scoop up some from me, even if you can't sow discord between Sarah and me. Stop, Mike. Lisa finally broke down, trembling as she said, I'm not in this for your money. I just still love you. In response, Mike let out another cold laugh. Lisa, now I see that you're just a malicious gold digger. It was my mistake. Mike's voice softened. And Sarah is already carrying my child. We will soon marry and welcome a new life. We will be happy. So, Lisa, if you continue to pester, you won't like the consequences. Since it's in the past, let it stay there. That night, Mike tightly embraced me from behind. Sarah, having you is so good. When the child is born, we will be the happiest family of 3. I turned away from him, showing a cold smile. The issue with Lisa and Amy was something I only discovered these past few days. This is the first gift I'm giving you. Do you like it? Mike, like many soon-to-be dads, began researching various pregnancy and baby care tips. He bought a bunch of baby items in advance, all for a girl. But what if it's a boy? Mike laughed. If it's a boy, honey, you'll have to give birth to a girl for me. I watched coldly as Mike eagerly spent a lot of time preparing for the arrival of this child. His anticipation grew day by day. A month after the miscarriage, I told Mike we had to go to the hospital for a checkup the next day. Mike hurried to help me lie down. Sarah, you need to sleep early tonight so you're well rested for the checkup. Before long, Mike's phone rang again, and I felt his relaxed body tense up for a moment. Nervously, he asked me, Sarah, have you been receiving any harassing emails recently? Pretending to be confused, I said, What harassing emails? Let me check my inbox. Don't look. Mike suddenly interrupted sharply, then came up with an excuse. Blue light is harmful to you and the baby. Let me check for you. There are a lot of email scams going around lately. I obediently handed over my phone, letting Mike do as he pleased. I pretended to be asleep as I heard him sneak out of the room. After the sound of the door closing, I opened my eyes, a look of indifference on my face. Opening the phone again, the email I had sent to myself from my other account was gone. On the way to the checkup, Mike was humming a tune while driving, as if he had been reborn. He tuned into a radio station he had searched for earlier. It was a soft female voice on the station explaining how to care for pregnant women. Mike was listening to the radio while driving. Suddenly, the gentle female voice stopped. Mike? Puzzled. He asked, What's going on? Before he could check, a familiar voice came on. Mike was frozen for 2 seconds, then frantically tried to turn off the radio, but couldn't. He stopped the car, turned to me, his eyes filled with panic and pleading, Sarah, it's not what you think. Let me explain. Listening to that familiar conversation, those secretive sounds, I delivered the greatest performance of my life, crying, screaming in pain, fresh blood. My best friend, who had long been prepared, forcibly removed me from Mike's car, leaving him only with my crying, pale face and the bloodstains on my white dress. Amidst the chaos, Mike received the second gift I gave him. I lay on the hotel bed as Mike kept calling me constantly, and I kept sending messages without answering. Sarah, where are you? Please let me see you. Sarah, is the child okay? Shall I take you to the hospital for a checkup? I had blocked Mike's number, but he kept calling me from different numbers. I had changed all my contact information. A colleague with good connections at the company sent me a message, subtly asking if I had relationship problems. She said Mike came to the company looking like a madman, frantically asking if anyone could contact me. By the time he found me, it had been several months. Mike's gaze lingered greedily on my face, then drifted downward, pausing on my flat abdomen. Then I saw a smile crack open inch by inch on his face. "Sarah, where's the child?" The child miscarried. My tone was casual, as if discussing the weather. Mike's body swayed, almost unable to stand. I gave a cold smile, looking at him. "Mike, do you need me to remind you of what you did?" Mike looked pitiful, but I did not pity him. You just want the warmth of a family, as well as the tenderness of moonlight. During your first love, your moonlight affair, did you ever think about your fiancé and your child? But what I hated the most was not Lisa. After all, she couldn't force you if you were unwilling. "Mike, it's you who killed your own child." Mike opened his mouth, but didn't say a word. After a while, he covered his face, tears falling silently, sobbing uncontrollably. I felt no attachment, turning away. If there was something wrong among the three of us, it was not pulling away decisively at the beginning, allowing Mike to hurt me over and over again. "I'm sorry, baby, it's all Mommy's fault. But Mommy doesn't want your body to carry such unbearable blood. If you still want to be Mommy's child, you must come to my dreams and tell me, okay?" Not long after, Mike appeared in front of me again. He had lost a lot of weight, sunken eyes, and with a thud, he knelt in front of me. "Sarah, please give me another chance. We will have children. Let me compensate you two properly, okay?" Looking down on him from a height, Mike knelt down, staring at me, waiting for judgment. But I laughed. "Sure, but you have to do something first." Overwhelmed with joy, Mike nodded frantically. "Sarah, I'll do anything you ask." I took him to the hospital. The gynecology department was promoting some pregnancy knowledge recently, simulating a pregnancy termination procedure on the spot. I held Mike's hand tightly, accompanying him as he watched what I had experienced that day. Various types of small rods were inserted one by one. As the doctor demonstrated step by step, I could clearly feel Mike's hand becoming almost as cold as ice. But I wasn't going to let him off that easily. I leaned in close to his ear and whispered softly, "It was you who, with your own hands, made your baby go through all this? Mike, it hurt so much, and the baby must have been in pain too. Maybe it was a girl." Mike's eyes were lifeless, as if his soul had been drained from his body. I asked Mike's parents for a divorce, but Mike's mother invited me to meet her directly. She pleaded with me to forgive Mike, but I replied with just 2 sentences. I mentioned the pain of losing a child, something Auntie had endured for 20 years. She probably understood it better than me, right? If Emily had been murdered, would you forgive the killer? Mike's mother muttered a few words, and I smiled at her, filled with hatred in my eyes. "I won't forgive Mike. Never." As the conversation ended, a person emerged from behind the screen in the tea room. It was Mike, crying and laughing at me, saying, "Sarah, if you don't forgive me, I can't forgive myself either." After that day, I had nightmares every night, dreaming of the baby covered in blood, crying at me. Friends in common with Mike called me, telling me about Mike's poor mental state, how he took loads of medication daily, afraid to sleep as he would see the bloody baby in his dreams. It wasn't enough to just suffer from insomnia and nightmares. It was time to give Mike one final gift. I took out my phone and dialed a number. "Amy, do you want to meet?" Years had gone by, but Amy was still the same. In the coffee shop, as I shared the events that had unfolded between the three of us, a well-dressed Amy looked down on us. Back then, Lisa broke up with Mike because of Amy's rich boyfriend, who quickly dumped Amy and pursued Lisa instead. Learning about their affair before the breakup, Amy was furious, beat up her boyfriend, then publicly confronted Lisa. But many people didn't believe her and sided with Lisa. Guess what? They all said I had a bad temper, making men lose face, while men preferred Lisa's gentle and caring nature. It all seemed to be in Lisa's favor. I presented some evidence to Amy, which she edited before sharing it on high school alumni groups and university forums. Years later, Lisa had another scandalous story attached to her, interfering in her ex-boyfriend's relationship, resulting in his fiancée having a miscarriage. With undeniable evidence, Lisa's reputation in her social circle was ruined. Amy finally had her revenge, and I added a little fuel to the fire, passing on the information to someone who could use it, leading to Lisa's dismissal from her job. Mike wasn't faring any better, as the news spread in their social circle and online, portraying Mike as a typical scumbag. Netizens rose against him, boycotting his company's products. Then, Lisa caused trouble for Mike again, but Mike believed that the recording was done by Lisa. In Mike's eyes 7 years ago, Lisa betrayed him for a rich guy, and now, after all those years, she shamelessly came back, causing the death of his long-awaited child. Amidst the new and old resentments, with Mike's worsening mental state, it was easy to predict what would happen. Lisa called the police, and Mike was incarcerated for intentional harm. With reconciliation out of the question, Lisa received hefty compensation and opted for a settlement. She publicized injury photos with her bruised and swollen face, obtained by Amy, and spread the news. Former classmates mocked both of them, laughing at their back-and-forth drama. Mike's career was ruined. His business partners had long wanted to kick him out, and soon after, Mike was forced to resign. Mike would text me from different numbers, sending me messages, then blocking one after another, sometimes even sending photos of tables filled with empty bottles, emanating a drunken atmosphere in his texts. He would confide in me about the stress and pain he endured, claiming his life was ruined, his mental state on the verge of collapse, pleading for my forgiveness. It was almost funny, his social, family, and career life in shambles. Wasn't this all Mike's doing? Was it so difficult for a man to adhere to a moral bottom line? Seeing Mike's increasingly troubled mental state, I decided to give him a final gift. I called him and revealed all the truths. After listening in silence for a while, Mike asked me one question. So when I was learning about childcare, buying those toys and clothes, the child was already gone, right? All of this was of his making. If only he had some conscience, some ethical boundaries, we wouldn't have reached this point. Mike, you disgust me so much that I wouldn't want a child with your inferior genes to be born into this world. Understand? I expected Mike to rage or go mad, but instead, he began to beg me. Please, Sarah, I know I was wrong. You can take any revenge you want. I only have you left. Don't leave me. The baby can't come back, so Mike, we are also beyond repair. I uncomfortably changed all contact methods, thinking the matter was resolved, but the police called. I entered a room filled with unopened baby products and toys of all sorts. I saw Mike's body. He lay peacefully with his eyes closed, as if he were asleep. The police questioned me seriously, saying that Mike's last phone call was from me. Then they handed me a letter, a farewell note meant for me, madam. I skimmed through the emotional front section and landed on the final sentence. My suicide has nothing to do with anyone. I am not worthy of living in this world. Mom, Dad, I am sorry. I offer my life as compensation for the baby. But Sarah, you must live on. You must find happiness. Late regrets are worthless. I walked out and tossed the letter in the trash.